we didn't have to worry about that. So just sign it.
Okay,
That's the
shame
best,
on me.
that's the best way to get the information.
I would have accepted that. Right.
That's one of those.
Right, we won't research it unless we accept it. And it can't. Or click no bid, there should be one way you can click no bid.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure this is all like, you know, by announcing, you know, to try to find out the solutions, you know.
You'll get them started, you know, when you start. So what you do, you go to our website and you actually take the first button on the website and says get opportunity list. You click that and it'll have the current get opportunity list as it is right now. So that will change. Yeah, thank you.
Randy, do you say something first?
Yes. Okay. Right, everyone's here for the eProcurement class?
Yes.
Great, awesome. Well, thank you for attending and not letting the rain stop you. Just real quick, we are streaming this class online, so if you do have questions, just kind of hold them to the end. My name is Rodney, DPS Public Relations Representative, and this is Intro to eProcurement. Just one real quick thing, we have our vendor fair that's coming up, so that's on May 15th. At the UIC Forum. That is our big event. We're going to have over 130 different exhibitors from local government, state, federal. We'll have financial institutions. It's a big event. I definitely recommend you attend that one if you're looking to know more information about contracting opportunities with the city and state, federal. So with that said, I think we're going to have Lucy start our eProcurement class right now. So thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Lucy Waydilla. I am the project coordinator for Department of Procurement Services. And we're just going to review what eProcurement is. It's our electronic process for bids, solicitations, creating the bids and solicitations, and also registering online as a vendor on eProcurement. The portal is for vendors. The iSupplier, which you will register in iSupplier, will be a full-service resource for all vendors doing this in the city of Chicago. We have an updated one, but almost all contract types are on eProcurements, with the exception of a few. Those are still.
Vehicle and heavy equipment and work services.
Work services.
So those procurement types will be going live later part of this year. But all contract types, small orders, construction, commodities, task orders actually will be within a couple of months. They have gone live now on eProcurement. So it's up to the discretion of our CPO for certain construction. If they're high priority, they may still go paper, such as our aviation, CDA bids. They may be paper, but we still do have a lot of them going through the electronic way. So, go ahead.
So iSupplier is where you will register as a vendor in the portal. And this is and you don't need to be a registered vendor to view the solicitations, but to bid on it, you have to register in iSupplier. You'll get an invite if you're an existing vendor. Yeah, you'll get an invitation. You'll ask for an invitation. We'll send it to you, and you'll be provided a supplier number. And then once you're in the system, you'll be able to view your orders, payments, invoices, and you can update your own contact information within the iSupplier, which is your address and contact names, phone number, email. Next one. So existing vendors, as I mentioned, you'll request an iSupplier invitation. New vendors that have never done business with the city, there is a button that you'll click for new vendor registration. What is needed is your FEIN number, your W-9 registration, confirmation of business information. And
how many in here
are new vendors?
have registered already in iSupplier? you're on, you actually register other users on there as well.
Couldn't register other users, I don't think. We were having trouble with our contact information.
Really? Okay. So did you talk to someone?
Not yet, we were waiting until today, just in case it was mentioned here.
Okay, we'll go over that.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So for the vendors that haven't registered already into the portal, so you won't delay us approving your registration. Please provide a copy of your W-9. If you don't do that, we're going to approve you because you may be a made-up company. You want to know you're not made up, right? So we want to make sure that you are a legitimate company and then you're ready to do business with the city. Okay?
So this is the website you would go to register, and your information is secure. It's the same protocol used for all secure communication, such as in banking, logons, etc. And bids are not visible to any of us as employees or other vendors prior to the opening bid. So your bid is secure. So don't feel that your information's out there or somebody else could see it. That's why I think a lot of people wait to the last minute to submit electronically. Nobody can see your bids. So we strongly recommend you do not wait to the last minute to submit it, because if something is going really slow with the system and we don't bid by 11 a.m. on that bid opening date, your bid's not going to count.
The system automatically locks you out.
Right.
Right? So, and then that is up to the CPO to accept a paper bid. Although we strongly discourage paper bid, since we're electronic now, we are accepting the paper bid.
Right.
But we would like for everyone to get used to the system, because the CPO at any given time can say no more paper, right? So if you're having problems, please let us know. That way you get comfortable using the system.
So this is how our portal looks like, your iSupplier portal. And here we have on the dashboard, you have the home, the login registration, current bids, solicitation opportunities. There's online training materials. There's PDFs as well as videos, which the videos are. Yeah, we'll show you, but I think it'll be faster reading the PDFs. And then there's, for delegate agencies, there's also a help button. It's quite intuitive, this site, so nobody should have, I don't think there should be an issue with anybody using the site. And here's where you'll see any announcements that we have as far as workshops, but this is an older screenshot because I've updated it. It should show just in May's. Okay, next screen. So this is your login registration screen. And here is where, if you're a first-time user, you would register right here. Hit the registration button. First time doing business with the city.
We'll go live so you actually see the actual site.
Right. So the vendor registration, as mentioned earlier, existing city of Chicago vendors, anybody who has done business with the city, excluding city colleges, CHA, Park District, you would request an iSupplier invitation. And then the new vendors, there's the new vendor registration right there. You would just click on that button and it'll take you up to the registration, and also allow you to upload your necessary documents that you need to provide us with. And this is our abstract screen. This is what you will see if you want to see all active bids that are out there, solicitations. I know it's kind of a blurry, yeah, we're going to go live so you can see it better. So this gives you like just an overview of how the abstract looks like. The details is where you click on, which is the two little glasses right there. It looks like two lists at the end screen. We'll go live to see it. This is just a screenshot. This is our details view. Once you get the details, you would then continue to click onto the PDF document, which will give you the requirements and what it is. I can go live. Yeah, we can go live.
All right, as Lucy mentioned earlier, this is our microsite that you probably went on to even register, right? And so, as she was explaining earlier, you have our information, right? Announcement as to upcoming events and workshops. And I'm sorry, I apologize for sitting down. So, and then you have delegate agency training. So, if you're a vendor and you deal with our delegate agency departments such as health, Department of Family Support Services, it's very important for you to go to their training as well because they have different processes than Department of Procurement Services. Okay, so all the delegate agency also train on invoicing. They're the only one right now are doing electronic invoicing. So again, you probably, if you're one of the vendors that deal with any delegate agency departments and have a contract with them, it's very important that you go to one of their workshops as well because they do a different training than we do. Okay? As Lucy mentioned earlier about our login screen, login, that means if you already have an iSupplier account, you log in. Register means that you have one or two things. You have a vendor code, you have a vendor code, that means you've done business with the city, you have a contract, paper-wise, you have a supplier, a supplier code. Now, I mentioned this in other workshops, and pre-bid. So we're in the process, we, DPS, are in the process of cleaning up our database. So you, as a vendor, may be in there more than one time. Like city colleges, they were in there 50 times, right? The reason that is because we had a legacy system, right, that dumped things in there, or we just had human error, right? Just search wrong and entered you in there a couple times, right? So if that's you think you have more than one vendor code, right? And you use one more so than the other. When you request a supplier invitation, provide that vendor code to us, right? We don't want to guess and say, hey, they want to use this and not that, right? And if we merge all those codes together, we can't unmerge it, right? So you go like, oh, wait, I was using this all along. And it's like, well, we chose for you. Here it is. So we don't want to do that, right? We want you to say, hey, I want to keep this. Or if you ask for invitation, say, hey, can you check to see if we're under this name? Because we had companies change names or doing business as another name. So we want to make sure that we touch all avenues and get you to one supplier code, and that way you can use that throughout your bidding process or doing business with the city. Okay? And then, again, for those vendors who've never, ever done business with the city, meaning you don't have a supplier code, you will ask for, you'll go in and self-register yourself. Okay? So those are the two difference. Also, at prior workshops, I had a question, is this, can I use the same user password for CTA, or housing, and the answer is no. Although they are on the Oracle platform, which this is, they're not connected. We're not connected. Okay, so we're going to just make sure that you're aware of that. So, Lucy mentioned earlier about, I'm sorry, this is like so big.
That's why I can't see the steps.
All right, I want to make sure. Okay. Are you okay? Can you see that? All right. Mm-hmm. So Lucy mentioned earlier about our current bidding information. So why do we have 3 links here? The very top link is all our electronic bidding, right? The middle link is all our pre-bid and pre-conference attendee lists, right? So everyone that attended all of our pre-bid list will be here. The non-eProcurement eProcurement, because we haven't gone live with all our procurement types, and because the CPO said, no, I don't want to go electronic, I want this to go electronic, we still have some in paper, okay? So you definitely want to look at both links, all right? Now, how do you look at the electronic link? So you'll click on that, which I already have it up, and brings you to a screen like this. This is our abstract page. And right now, these are all our current active bidding that you can go out there to bid on. All right? What does this mean? What is this page? Department name, who is the hosting department that's putting this out to bid, right? Event, basically, is the contract type, right? Commodity, small orders, construction, or what have you. The solicitation number, this is very important when you bid. Why? Right? So when you get that 4-digit number, or what have you, when you go in after registering, and I'll demo that in a minute, then you will need that number to type in and to bring that bid up, right? Now, what is the number after the comma? That number is representation of an addendum or clarification that the city put out, right? So the system treats it all the same. So we know, we being DPS, and if you ever came to the pre-bid, know that your solicitation will at least have one addendum. Why? Because when we do a Q&A, you ask us questions, we send the answer back to you, we put it in the form of an addendum, right? So you will have to acknowledge your addendum with clarification every time you see a number. Now you will get an alert because why? You went in and accepted our terms and conditions. When you did that, that put you on our takeout list. You're saying, hey, I want to get notified every time something happens or changes to this particular solicitation. All right? So, then we have the specification number here as well. We have the title. The title always begins with the specification number and the title of the solicitation or bid. Right? The important dates, right? Advertisement date and time, supplier response date and time. These dates should always be the same. Why? As soon as we advertise, you have an opportunity to go out there and bid on it. All right? So that would always be the same. If you ever see that different, please let us know. Then that's when I come in and say, hey, I get on the specialist who put this out there. Okay? All right. The supplier response due date, that's the bid opening day. All right? Again, 11 o'clock, the system will shut you out. Will not accept your bid at all. Okay? So please, you have the time of the start date to go in. Go in as often as you want, as many times you want, change it. But please do not wait till the last minute. Systems get fickle, right? Maybe our system, maybe your system. It gets fickle and you don't want to be left out, okay?
So you can obviously go in, enter whatever, save it,
Save
and then come back in 2 days.
Absolutely.
Okay.
As many times you want, okay? Yes. All right, and then the deadline for questions, again, look at all the important dates and time. Sorry. Then you have, as Lucy explained earlier, your detail. You'll click on the detail, eyeglass or link. Oh, it's okay. Love it. A little bit today. See?
Yeah, see?
A little bit. Let's see. Let's try this again. All right. There it is. So again, it's just telling you an overview about those dates and times I told you about on the abstract page. And then it tells you about the pre-bid conference, right? Where it's located and the time. Now we put strongly suggest At first we said, let's make it mandatory, right? Because we want to make sure that you know how our new system works and how to bid. Well, we got slapped on the hand and from the law department saying, no, you can't make it mandatory. You got to, so we had to come up
Really strongly.
really strong suggest that you come to our pre-bid, right? Because then at that time, we do actually demo the actual bid, right? What you're actually going to be bidding on and what that looks like. So you get to see firsthand what it looks like. And we actually go in as a fake vendor and then just bid on it as you do it when you go back to. So that's why we really strongly suggest. So if you had questions at that point, we'll just go right, to it and answer it until you're comfortable with that. Okay? So we have some people that's bid on a lot. He knows my speech backwards and forwards, but he that they don't come anymore. They're like, oh, I don't. So, but because we want to make sure you're at that comfort level to bid, that we demo it or try to demo it every time a pre-bid. Okay. And then, so it gives you a high level on what's going on here, but if you want to see the complete specification or solicitation, you'll click on this PDF. Now, depending upon your system, right, it may take up to maybe 5 minutes to download. We tested this at a Starbucks for our construction. Construction have all those drawings and different things. So it took about 5 minutes on their Wi-Fi. So, we didn't want to put this out there and then have egg in our face and bring it back and say, oh, geez, you should have waited, right? So we tested it based on maybe some of the things, situations where you're out having coffee or something, you want to do it there. So we like, hey, let's test it on somebody else's Wi-Fi versus that. And so here is the solicitation. And so you will open it, and it comes in the form of a PDF, right? And so it tells you who the specialist is, their phone number, our great mayor and everyone, and then all the lines and all things and so forth. Towards the bottom of this is actually all the required documents that you need to submit back to us. Now, we made those documents fillable, but a lot of times what I've been seeing is that you guys print it out and handwrite it in. Whatever is comfortable for you, go ahead and do it, but we just made sure we attach them so that you're aware of what you need to provide to us. Okay? Please, 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 every solicitation is different, so you want to pay close attention to what is required. Okay? Yes?
I had a question. Maybe you answered it before I came in. Does this run on Internet Explorer or on Chrome?
Yeah. Both.
Both? Okay. Does it work faster on Chrome?
So
have you figured that out yet?
But I do know internally, I don't know about externally, but internally, our IT department, they suggest that we go into Internet Explorer for FMPA. It works better. So I never tested it like outside of my home and really did it like that, but they strongly suggest using IE for our Oracle-based system. All right. So once you've gotten your email, your user log on, right, and your password, and you say, hey, this is something we can provide to the city, these services, I want to bid, right? So now I'm going to go in and log in as a fake bidder, right? You would hit login, but I have it up here. Now, you wouldn't see the word Jade, right? You wouldn't see that. It would be blank. And the reason why I'm in the testing or training environment, we would never, I or DPS would never want to go into a live environment while doing the workshop. So the only time we do go in the library environment, like I said, is doing the pre-bid, right? So I don't want to go in and then like, Felicia, yep, your login said you did X, Y, and Z, and that's it. So this is why I do workshops in a testing environment. However, it is a copy of production. So everything you'll see here is in production, right? It mirrors production. Rodney, did you remember that number for me? It's 687. All right. Wait, before I sign in as a user, because he didn't remember my number and I didn't bring my little cheat sheet, I have to sign in as me. So, sorry. 6824. All right. Okay, my mind is like. So when you log in, right, your screen will look just like this. And actually, no. Will look just like this, right? What is this? Your work list. Your work list is basically communication from the city of Chicago, right? Regarding that particular solicitation that you bid on, right? So they either send you a message, or if they did an addendum or what have you, it will show here. It will also show in your email, right? So again, it will show here or in there as well. Now, under the main menu here, this is called your responsibility. You should have 2 responsibilities. If you don't have 2, please let us know. All right? The first responsibility is your portal creation and invoicing. What can you do here? This is where you can see all of your purchase order history, your agreements, your invoices, your returns. No longer you can say, hey, am I getting paid? It'll tell you, it'll show you right here on the screen. Now, because this is a big vendor, we don't have any invoices or things like that. But as you can see, you can click there, and then it will show you all your payments and the status of your payments. One question we had in another workshop and said, hey, how far back does it go? As far back as you had that supplier ID, that vendor ID. Okay? So all those payments will be shown, or status will be shown. Okay? Now, you will have this admin tab. What is this admin tab though? You can add another location. Say your business grown, right? You can create your another address here. Right. Now, I do want to say this. You see these ladders here? We recommend that you put alpha characters here. A, B, C. Do not put headquarters or the south side or this, because then we're going to change it. Our finance unit have a certain setup that they do where they need alpha. A, B, C, D, E. Okay? So I want to just let you know. So when you do your self-registration or something, just put an alpha character. If not, we're going to change it anyway, and you'll see it. All right? And it's based on our finance department having some setup and some rules. Okay? Contact directory. And that's where you go and you add people. Okay? You can inactivate them, you can update them, you can remove them, you can do all of that. This is under your admin and contact directory.
Those users?
These are users. So, users, say you hit the lottery, you definitely want more than one user. Why? You may leave. You may hit the lottery and be like, I'm out. And so, you want to make...
Who would leave the city of Chicago if they won the lottery?
Oh, yeah, right? So, you're like, they're like, we can't get in. And then you'd be like, Felicia, I can't get into my company's profile and blah, blah. So we strongly urge, if you're on vacation or whatever, you always want an extra person or two here. Okay?
Is the check mark like a primary?
So the checkmark means that they are a supplier user where they can go in when they register. They can go in and actually bid, right? So you want to have an email and say, hey, they can go in and bid on the particular solicitation.
Okay, so as long as there's an email associated.
Yeah, exactly.
And then everybody on that list will get all communications and all emails.
Now that's only if they go in, and I'll show you how they get that communication.
Okay. Oh, they have to check a box. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's only.
And anyone in the client contact directory has the ability to edit, or just you?
They can, they could edit, they can start, but that's a discussion between you and the person in there who's actually going to submit the bid. A lot of companies, what they do is, they have the one person who's going to submit the bid, the other just get on the takeout list so they can get notified, right? And so notifications go to them as well. So their bid will always be in draft and never go anywhere, but you do have the one bid, the one person that will actually go in and submit your actual bid. Okay? So we have a lot of presidents or someone that just want to know. Right? Yes.
If we have a number of different names underneath there, and say I'm the person that goes in there and puts in all the documents, if other names are in there, can they get into the same bid and add documents as well?
No. Well, let me take that back. Now, initially the answer is no, right? I haven't tested this yet, but the gentleman from the delegate agency said that 2 people can work on one document. I don't want to say yes until I physically tested it and give you the answer.
So is it the first person that opens up the bid, they have to submit it?
No.
Okay.
No. It's whoever you within your company decides she's going to bid, and you give that person gives you all their information. So if I go in, I'm sorry, I want to make sure she's not confused. So I go in, we are at the same company, I go in and log in, right? You go in and log in. That's perfectly fine. We get on the checkout list, right? It doesn't matter if I submit it or you submit it. It's just a conversation to say, hey, we both in there. Doesn't matter if I went in first or I got on first. That doesn't matter. It's whoever pushed the button and submitted. That's who submits the bid.
Okay.
And so we have a conversation offline, right, and said, no, I think you should go ahead and put the bid in.
Right.
I still want to just receive the communication from them, but I'm not going to submit it.
Right. Because I'm usually the one that puts in all the information, but they're the estimators, so they're the ones that would actually submit the bid.
No, not electronically, no. So if you put in, and this is what I'm saying, I have to test to see if you started, right? And they put in all the numbers and figures and all of that. I got to test myself. I'm not going off someone's word. Can you do it, right? But if you're starting and you don't want to submit the bid and they're already in there, then they can submit. Your bid is in draft. Only the submitted active bid is the one we will see.
Even if it's under my name?
But you're saying they're in there as well.
Right. So it doesn't matter.
Would they have to log in as per in order to?
Right.
That's
That's what I'm saying.
What's the one that put in the document?
No. They can have their own login, right? You're logging in, you're putting in here.
Right.
Right. They're logging in separate. You
Okay.
can't see each other.
Right.
You can't see each other. I logged in as me because I'm here.
Right.
You logged in as you because you're. Their bid, you might have completed it. I might have completed it. But I'm not going to submit. I want you to submit.
So 2 people
can do
can
it.
be working on the same bid at once?
It's not the same bid. It's 2 separate bids. It's because you're going to get another.
So you
It's
can
the
be
same
in theory-
RFQ, right? It's the same RFQ,
Right.
right? But only one bid is going to be accepted.
But so in theory, 2 people at the same company could be logged in separately,
Yes.
responding to the same RFQ or RFP.
Right, but we're only going to get one.
Oh, which one has the documents?
Right, so
Only
which-
You're
coincide
not-
as one?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's an offline conversation because you can't submit. Both can't submit.
But we can't go in, like, the two of us work together, we can't go in and be working on the same one.
No. So we're talking two different things.
Right.
That's why I said I have to test myself to see if you went in, right? We both have a login. You have the one thing. You have the number, and you both is in draft. And then you said, I'm finished, you saved it, and then she goes in, right?
And can work on that same draft.
Right.
Okay, okay.
That's the one I have to test. Now, that's two different things. So now if I go in, I'm logged in, and then you're logged in, it's a conversation because you're filling out, well, most times only one person fills it out. But we both filled it out, right? And we had a conversation and said, you're going to submit, and I'm not. Mine's still going to be in draft. You're the only one that's going to be submitted because you get two separate response numbers.
But for the documents that I'm downloading in there,
Mm-hmm.
will that person still get all those downloads?
No,
It's
because
in
you're
mine.
two separate. Yeah, it's only in yours.
That's what I'm saying, like, I put all the
Unless-
information in, but they're the ones that submit it. But they're
Right.
gonna have to go under my name to
Exactly.
submit it because I'm the one that has all the documents.
Correct. Only if I test it and
Right.
come back and say, oh no, you can go ahead and they can,
Okay,
both
so
persons
that's
can
still
work
in
on
the
it.
works right now with,
So then,
I heard you can. I haven't. I'm not the one to take someone.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying,
I want to do it myself and
to
say,
make sure.
just say, oh, I can firmly stand here and say, yeah, it works.
Okay,
I can't firmly stand here and say that.
okay.
So just to simplify things, Diana always goes in
Yes.
and puts in all the information up front.
Correct.
Whatever has to be downloaded for your forms and everything, and it's all populated and it's in there.
Correct.
In order for me to see what she did, I need to go in under, right now until you test it, I need to go in under her name and
That's
her
right.
password
That's right.
in order to see all that
Correct.
populated and everything. Now, the prices might not be in there, but all the things that you require
Correct.
for the city
That
are
is
going to
correct.
be in there. If I go in under my own name and password, I won't see any of that.
Correct. That is absolutely correct.
Good explanation.
that's a,
I got
You
right?
made it simple.
Now, but the other thing I want to say just is
Yes.
the check mark. If we can go back to the check mark. This all started with the
Yes.
check mark. If all four of us are in, and she put everything in, but she doesn't have a check mark after her name.
She's not even in because you saying so the check mark saying she's she's a user.
Right,
of
I'm an
my
active
supplier,
user.
of Pork.
Oh,
So if she doesn't have a check mark, which this person doesn't really have a check mark, right? Doesn't mean they have if they don't have a user email account. Guess what? They can't get in.
They can't get in. They
Right.
can't submit a bid.
Yeah. Right.
So you have to be an active user to even get in there.
Exactly.
So that's what the check.
So when that's what the check
mark is showing that you are an active user. Right.
You're current.
Right, you can all have a check mark, but if
you
I'm
all
the
can
one
have
that
a
puts
check
paperwork
mark.
in.
We thought it was more than that. We thought there was something more special about that.
Oh no.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. So you can all go in.
Right.
And do your thing. So that's why I was just saying, a lot of Diane here may be the person, right? But I, the president or what have you of the company, I just want to know, be nosy and say, hey, I want all the notifications too. I don't want to rely on Diane.
Yeah.
I have an account, I'm active. All I do is accept the terms and conditions and just watch notifications come through. That's all I want to do. All the addendums, all the QAs that can do, that's all I want. And a lot of vendors do that.
Right.
Is there a limit to how many users
Nope.
can be registered with it?
Nope. But because this is putting that responsibility in your hands, so you can always go in and clean it up and all that. So it's no longer relying on the city, because the city used to do that. You had to contact us and we clean it up for you. No, you can do that yourself.
So you say that you're gonna find out if two people can be in on the same one?
Yeah, I would. I have to schedule some time with the gentleman
Okay,
and test it myself.
okay.
So the other question is, if we can both be in there at the same time under her name and password? Or is it, you know,
You can
because,
work on the same draft. So if
Well,
she started
yeah.
and you know the draft number, then you both with your username can go in under that draft that she started it and work under it.
No, what he's saying is if I'm in it, can he get in it as well under
That's what
my
I'm
name?
That's what I'm hearing. I don't know.
Okay,
Again, I haven't tested any of these out.
we can test it ourselves,
You
right?
could be in 2 different states on 2 different computers, you're saying, but both logged in as the same.
Right, or even just in an office.
Right.
I'm just right.
For clarification.
Right.
Right. Again, I don't know
Okay.
all the ins and outs of it. 'Cause
Right.
Initially, it was no. Right? This was no, just one person, the person that started, whatever, you do it. I'm hearing it's different, so I don't want to tell
We
you
can
something.
test and see
And
if we
you say,
can both
Felicia
get it at
said,
the same time.
okay? Alright. So I just wanted to show you where you can add,
Thank you.
no problem. Alright, so I'm gonna go back home.
These are questions we were gonna have, so that's good.
Yeah.
I'll put everybody in there if I haven't already. I don't know
Yeah.
what I've done. Yeah.
I'm gonna go back home, and so now I'm going to go, and I forgot, 6842, right?
Yep.
Okay. Go on online bidding, sourcing homepage. Computer's a little slow. Okay. Now, as you can see my screen, and this is a fake vendor. I use it all the time. Your response number, this is like your receipt that you submitted a bid or it's in some other status, right? This is the status, active. This is what you look for all the time. That means you actively submitted a bid to us. Come bid opening date, we will have your bid. This is what you want to see. Resubmission required. Remember I said about the addendums and all of that? So if it was in active, if it was in draft or whatever the status was, and we issued an addendum or what have you, it's gonna say resubmission required. When you see that, that means for you to go in and acknowledge that addendum, amendment, or whatever it may be, or clarification, because you want to get what? You want to get your bid back to what? Active. All right? So, as you can see, we can go up as far. I think this one had at least 7 or 8. So, yeah.
And if you haven't submitted, it'll say draft?
If you haven't, yeah, it will say draft. And then the other one, if you went in, just accepted terms and condition, and then you saved it, draft. If you went in, started your your bid or what have you, and you wasn't quite ready to submit it, and you just saved it, it will say draft. Okay? All right. Now, I want to mention this. Got this morning. So, if you started your bid, and it's in a draft status, and the bid opening has come, and you sent us a paper bid. But you sent us this paper bid. In the background, we have to put your bid in as a surrogate bid, right? So we have to go in the system, remove your draft bid, then go back in and do your surrogate bid. It's a lot of work. So if you know you just really gonna send us or bring in a paper bid, and you started your bid here, go ahead and delete it. So that way we won't go in the back and do all this extra step. How do you do that? Manage your bids. And you click on draft, and then you'll hit delete, right? So if you know you started an electronic bid, and you get frustrated for whatever reason with the system, and you submit a paper bid, and it's before the bid opening date, delete the draft, okay? Because then we will have to take that bid, that paper bid, and put it in for you.
So, Felicia, we asked you about this once before, but I just want to get a clarification. We start a bid and it's active, and we submit the bid. You said we can submit anytime.
Right.
Or for some reason, we don't want, and it's active,
Right.
and there's no addendums.
Right.
So it's still showing active on the day of the bid, but we don't want to submit the bid.
Right. It's already submitted,
It's
but
already
yeah.
submitted, so now, I thought you said that there was no way to extract that.
It's not. So I'm saying draft.
No, I
Right,
know,
he's
now I'm
asking a
talking about.
different question.
this
No,
draft and-
I hear what he's
Draft and
saying.
then-
Like, how do you take away the
Yeah,
active?
the draft is one thing, but now the bid is active, there's no addendum. I threw a number in there originally.
Right.
The owner came to me and he said, we're not bidding on that.
Right.
Extract the bid.
Right.
There's no way to do
So,
that, right?
no way to do it.
Okay.
Now, I think I tested this, but let me go back. So what I did was, and I think if I talked to you on the phone,
It was a while back.
yeah, somebody I talked to on the phone about this. I said, go in and pretend you're changing something and don't submit. Just save as draft.
When we did it, when we talked to you, there was an addendum and we didn't acknowledge the addendum.
Okay, and
He
then
said because we didn't acknowledge it,
we don't get
you
it.
don't get to read it.
We don't
because
get to
did
read it.
not
Right.
do the submission.
Right.
But
So-
let's just say there was no addendum.
Right. If
I
there's no
understand.
addendum.
That's what I'm saying is you go back in, you change something, a number or whatever, and save as draft. So anything that, only time we get to see your bid is if it's active. If it's a draft or require resubmission, we don't see it.
So if we change one thing on
One
there, it's
thing.
gonna go back into the draft until
Just
we
save it
resubmit
until
it to
you
make it
resubmit
active.
it.
Change
That's
the
right.
unit price, or we change
Yeah,
whatever.
whatever.
Okay.
That's why I
She
think I
changed
told somebody.
Yeah,
and
no,
said-
at the time you said, write us an email and tell us that you're not bidding on the job.
Right.
Which
I
is
got
fine.
Yeah, I got 50 billion.
I'm sure.
That's why we're here, because
Yeah, that's fine.
we just
But-
wanted to kind of get it all out there.
Yeah, so let me just, the question is, if you have an active bid and it doesn't have a clarification addendum or require resubmission, what do? You go back in, pretend, change something, doesn't matter, of the unit price or whatever the case may be, and then save as draft. Only active bids will come to us. Anything else, we don't see. Okay? Now, we can see in the back end and say, hey, what's your name? Got 10 minutes. You haven't submitted a bid, so you may not want to submit a bid, right? All right. Yes.
So, but isn't there, I thought when we did it, there's an active bid, but you have to actually submit it. Just because it's active doesn't mean it's submitted to the city, right?
No.
I mean, because there was a screen we went into and we actually had to submit the bid.
Well, right, when you did the fakes,
When I was testing it, I said,
Right.
let me submit this bid. I went through the whole thing. I got to the screen where you have the signature
Mm-hmm.
or whatever.
Right.
And, that was the last thing before I hit the button to
It's
submit it.
right?
And then that means it's in.
It's right.
Right, but if we're just in there putting stuff in, she's just putting stuff in, and we haven't actually gone to the signature page and submitted it.
It's still in draft. Cause you're not
Okay,
getting,
so I had to change it to an active bid.
right, yes.
Oh.
Yeah, it's still in draft because
It was active.
only until you put your name, your signature, and check
Yeah.
that,
that's when it becomes
that's when
active.
you're
Right.
gonna get the even submit button. You don't get the submit button unless you do all that.
Ah, okay, so
Okay.
we went all the way.
We went through the whole thing just to see if how
Right.
it would work,
Yeah.
and we just clicked yes for everything and went
Yeah.
through it. You know what I mean?
Just to see it.
Just
Oh, I
to
get
see
it.
how it works, so that we knew on the day of the bid that if we were going to bid it for sure,
Absolutely.
we would know how it worked. But then we figured, oh my God, now it's in there and we're not going to bid it. How do we get it back out?
Right.
But we got that from you that
Right.
it wasn't submitted
It
because
wasn't.
there was an addendum and we didn't
Even
we didn't
acknowledge
click
it.
the addendum.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep, so if you don't acknowledge that
Right.
addendum or clarification, guess what? We don't get it.
But going back to your example though, you said once it's active, you can go back in there and reopen it and save it as a draft after that?
Yeah.
Okay. You can't pull it out.
Just make it
You have to change
Yeah,
something.
because
in
You got
it.
to change something.
Right.
Yeah. Well, at that time, you may or may, I can't remember. that number I gave, I had, was it 6842? But your number, you get it from where? That abstract page, right?
Yeah.
So I went in this morning and created a fake, was it 6842?
I think it was 24.
No, it wasn't.
What was it?
6824.
6824. Thank you. That's sleep deprived.
No,
Oh.
that wasn't it either.
I wrote it down.
Let me see. Let me get in. I'm sorry. Now I gotta go in again
Yeah,
as myself.
yeah. I know, I should have too.
I wrote it down downstairs, but I can't. Oh, we did say 6824. Why?
Yeah, I wrote it down.
Hold on.
I was like, my God, this is a really bad day.
You wouldn't see all of this. It's all my responsibility to test and make sure you are okay when you bid. It's all my job.
Can I ask you, this is all new to me, so I just, while you're going through that,
6822. 22. I'm listening. I'm sorry.
and you can come back to this at the right timing. So when all the bids are in, and it's adjusted for, like, you know, MB, whatever it is, then does a person, like, look at them and evaluate them? Is it, like, automated, like?
No, a person.
Okay.
We do read the bids.
We just read on the bid opening day. The bid and bottom row just read what you have,
Okay.
but we give that to the specialist, the person on that list. We give it to them, and then they do whatever they need to do.
Okay.
They evaluate all the bids that they receive, and there's a committee that meets on it, and then they come to their conclusion.
And they send it to the user department. Oh, back in. Now, I think I started something.
There it is.
There it is. So, as you can see, I have a comma 1, right? So, that's sleep deprived, I'm telling you, it's dangerous. So when I created this, I forgot to check the mark to say I can close it anytime I want instead of waiting till 11 days later to close the bid. So I was like, oh man, I got to do this all over. And so I was like, no. So I did an addendum, and of course you see the comma 1. Now you may see this. We had some fat fingering going on where the procurement specialist hit the button too soon to publish, and they weren't ready. They weren't finished. So by the time you see it, you'll see a comma 1, and you're like, wait a minute, did I miss something? No, that's because we fat fingered and hit it too soon, and it starts off with a comma 1. So go ahead and select it, Lucy, and hit respond. Respond right here. All right. So I do want to mention, please don't click on the number. We have vendors.
Don't click on the number. That's what I did.
We have vendors. Still data. Hit refresh for me and see what it does. That's what you do when you work in training environment. Because when you click on the number, it's just taking you into the solicitation. It doesn't give you the opportunity to bid. Just click and you just see it. Let me see right
Don't click on the number. I always clicked on the number. I never clicked on the respond.
Yeah. Let's
It
see.
says it doesn't take responsive.
You don't have all these screens on yet. Hard to take notes.
Well, and it's in, and I'll show you where to go. I don't just go on the PowerPoint because I like for you to actually see it, right? PowerPoint just, you want to really see what bid looks like. So, so you don't have a lot of those, but I will show you where it actually is. Okay, so here it says you have to, the amendment is required. So actually, when we send out an addendum or what have you, you'll see a screen just like this. And so you have to say yes. If you don't, if you say no, guess what? You can't get in, right? So then you have to accept that and move on. Look at pro, man. So at that time, right, if we did it.
I'm sorry. How do you know what the amendment was?
Oh, it would have. I didn't put any description there. Okay. It will actually say what it is.
Okay.
I know because I did this and yeah, and I didn't put anything, but any amendment, addendum, anything that has changed, it will say what has changed, and then it will give what it was and then what it is now. So you'll get to see that. Sorry about that. No. Good question though. So, and then you have our terms and conditions, right? And as you can see, this is divvied out. It's only in when you have read it and accept it, you're able to get the accept button. Now, when you do that, you as an organization will be on our takeout list, all right? And so all notification, anything will come directly to you, right? And here is where those required attachments will need to go, right? And all these EDS and yes, no questions. So what is this yes, no question? These are checklists. Checklists saying, yes, I attached this. Yes, I attached that. No, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. All right? You have to answer yes or no, or you will not go any further. Okay? So basically, this is a checklist. Now, do the checklist validate from your attachments? No. So, we strongly recommend when you attach something, you say bidder information or whatever you're attaching or whatever they're requiring, EDS. That way, when you go here and say, oh yeah, I selected that, it correlates to what you attach. Okay?
Do it right away.
So again, this is faith. Yours may read a little different. I'm just going through. Like, how can I be a corporation? I'm just going through selecting. Okay.
Right. That's why we just went through and checked.
And where you have the attachments, is it like Microsoft Office and PDFs or only PDFs?
Yeah, everything.
Everything.
Or
So you just want to upload it?
yeah, you just upload it. So I'll just put the number here and say, because this is our testing or training computer, we don't have a lot on here. So you'll put, and again, they'll tell you how they want it in the title, but typically it's the spec number, right? Whatever it is. And then EDS, right? So they tell you, so if you bid it on other solicitation, we want to make sure that the right document is in the right folder that we put together, and so we'll have all your documents related to that solicitation. Okay?
So in this title, you put in the spec number, you don't put what the document is that you're attaching?
It is right here.
Right there.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. But you have to put the spec number first?
No, they do. So it depends on the specialist, but the way I help train them, like, hey, put spec number, spec X, Y, and Z, colon, and then whatever it is.
What it is, okay.
Yeah.
Because I just put in what it was, I didn't put the.
Only because if you bidding on multiple projects, right, we want to make sure that particular document goes with it. Because they create their own folder once they download your stuff, right?
Okay.
So we'll make sure it goes to that particular spec number and that particular.
Okay,
So that's why we do it.
good to know.
Yes.
certain proposals we've turned in have required originals, like original signatures. Is that still a requirement?
Yes.
So
So
then
you just have to scan in.
you just scan in a
Scan it.
signature. We're not turning in a paper
No.
copy of originals.
No.
Okay.
Yep. Yes.
Aside from that name convention, for individual attachments versus.
So again, depends on your specialist, but we do an individual one. Because when we give it to the user department, they may not want to see everything. They want to see certain things. So, but if you do, then of course the specialist probably becomes, no, I'm just kidding. They'll just have to extract what they need to give to the user department. So,
Is there a size limitation on those attachments?
great question. No. Initially, well, let me see. We tested 256. So any size up to 256 megabytes. Yeah. Okay. So that's huge. You should be able to get all your documents attached with that, right? So we did test that.
Each attachment.
Yeah, each attached. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I did that. Once you attach it, you say yes or no. You save as a draft, right? You want to save it. Computers are fickle. You go to your lines tab. Oh, good. I'm like, how many lines did I select for this? Now, you can either go in one by one and put in your value, or see this quote by spreadsheet? I do recommend this, right?
This is where it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did that.
You did
Yeah,
it?
we did it. Yeah, we did it.
Yeah, you do by quote by spreadsheet, tab delimited.
Right.
You export, it says line, you export it, right? For those who's dealing with construction and all these 200-300, and some commodities have 200-300 lines, you want to do this because you don't want to go one by one, right? So you do a save as, save it on your desktop, right? You see it's a zip, right?
Sorting the lines out and putting numbers
Yeah,
in the next one.
and then to minimize it,
Where you accept.
look, my eyes are, what was it, 68? There it is. So you double click on it, you drag it. See, it's a TXT file, right? You drag it to your desktop, drag it. Because it's
That's easier to do
TXT,
it that way.
right? You open up your Excel. I did a UPK for this too, so. You go in, you open, right? It's not an Excel file here, right? You go in, you go on your desktop, because you did all files. Here it is. Open, next, and finish.
Yep.
Right? See that 1, 2 I put in there before? It's there. So now, say if I want to just drag it.
Yep.
I'll put the 2 in. Then, now I want to save it, save as. I keep it the same, and what I do is I'll just put respond. If I know how to spell. Okay? Leave the type as is. Save it. Yes. Now, I go back to the system. I'm ready to import it. See, tab delimited, the lines. You browse it. Here's my response right there, right? Open and import. And there's my value.
There it is. That's, yep.
Okay? Now, unfortunately, it doesn't give you your calculation here, but once you hit continue, here's your bid.
That's why we did the big one.
There's your bid.
Get that number.
So, upon bid opening, this is what I will read off. Okay? All right. So now I'm finished. I'm like, okay, I want to submit this. The numbers look good. My papers are attached. So I'm going to put my name there. No shoot. Whatever. Hungry, sleep deprived, all that good stuff. Right?
Does it have to be you? It matches it to the user, or you can have the president's name?
Yeah, you can put the president's name, right? And then you submit. submit, go back, see my quote number, go back to the home page, and here it is, it's active. So say if I wanted to change my figures, right? How do I do that? I click on it, yes,
Before you go anywhere else, at this point it's submitted.
it's submitted.
Is there a way to print that final?
Oh, I'm sorry, I should have printed it, yeah, because at that time you could have printed too.
Well, that's why, because we noticed you can only print right before you submit,
Submit,
and it's called a draft.
right,
Is there
here it
any
is,
way to submit your final?
here it is, printable view.
Oh, okay.
Okay? The printable view is actually what you submit,
Okay.
your
That's
value,
good enough.
okay? So here, say you want to go back in and change it, right? It says create quote. Although it says create quote, it's overriding or bringing up your old quote or your old value. It doesn't override it until you change it, right? So you go in, create quote, and it takes you to where you left off, right? So I'm just going to change some values. Hit continue. So now you see that it changed, right? Now it's asking me to submit again, right?
So wait, can I just make sure I understand this? So if you submit it, then you can make a change and submit it again, it'll take the most recent one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's only one. Yep. Here, and then submit. So and it's still the same quote number.
So can you show if we want to put it back to a draft and not submit it?
Sure. So here, and create a quote. Now, if you just go in and you say you updated the attachments, right? The system's gonna squawk at you like, hey, you never changed anything. That's a bug. To get around that, right? See this buyer, the note to buyer, just put a dot there.
That's all you need to do to make it
That's
change.
it. If you're just changing
Just
the attachments, but if you change the lines, it would change for you. It won't give you an error. But if you change an attachment, then you just put it out there.
So where does it say it goes back to draft now?
Oh, save as draft.
Oh, save it.
So now it's not submitted again?
It's not submitted. It's
Okay.
save as draft.
Okay.
Right? And I just go home. Of course, you don't have, and then it says revert back to active, right?
Okay.
Because it's in draft. You're like,
Right.
no.
So then you won't get it?
Then we won't get it.
Okay.
It
Got
says up there that it has been saved as a draft at
See,
the very
right here.
top.
Yep. Very good. Okay. Good
Okay.
to know.
You solved their problems.
Yes.
No problem.
We're very nervous about that.
You guys have, I mean, we tested a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different things, but you guys have given me some doozies. I tell you, I'm like, what? Oh, okay, well, let me figure it out. Just like the attachment thing. They, some vendor calls and say, hey, it won't accept my bid. I just revised my attachment. I'm like, what? It should go. And I'm like, oh, it doesn't go. So that's why we create a fake vendor as well and see what you see, right? And so that's when it's like, oh, okay, well, you got to do this to trick the system, right? All right. Are there any other questions? I know we ran over, but you guys had some good questions. So I wanted to make sure that you are understanding of our system, and the teacher was here pretty much. So he was here and here to stay unless we get another directive and go another way.
So this is all just City of Chicago, then we have to go to those other bids for like CTA.
Yeah.
But would this cover?
Did you ask me if I had a question?
Yeah.
And you rolled it out in
I know how to do it.
2017.
And now it's even easier for you to
We
drag it
did
out.
this, no, 2000 and, oh, let me do the help too. We did this in 2015.
15?
Yeah,
This Oracle platform?
Oracle platform,
Do you
yeah.
have cards?
Go,
Do you have contact information?
no.